podcast guru, Greg Huntermark. Ruh, ruh.
Hello, everybody. Guru Podcast, Toledo, Ohio. Greg Huntermark down at the studio today, rocking out a hot day. Actually sitting in my swimsuit. Man, I'm telling you, flip-flops too. And I got a good friend, long-time friend.
How you doing?
Tim. Tim, how you doing?
I'm pretty good. How are you, sir?
Really good. Tim and me were co-workers at one time.
That's why I call him sir. He was my boss. We weren't co-workers. He was my boss.
I don't know if I want to talk about that.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, I could say a lot of things that began with A and F and B, but I wouldn't because you still taught me quite a bit.
Oh, well.
So I still call him sir because of that.
Thank you,
He
Tim.
taught me how to sell.
Yes. Sales is everything.
Yes, it is.
It
You got to
is.
sell yourself first before anything else, right?
Yes, right. You want to get up in the mirror first thing in the morning. You know what I mean? Got to sell that self, you know?
Absolutely.
And, that's why I do the meditation. I get every morning you got to recalibrate kind of thing.
Oh,
And you
absolutely.
gotta
It's a
get that
regeneration.
mindset.
It's a 24-hour cycle.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least they say women are on a monthly cycle and men are on a 24-hour cycle. I think everyone's on a 24-hour cycle.
I would think so, too.
When you go to sleep and you wake back up, something happens in you. Something intrinsically shifts.
Mm-hmm.
It's a brand new day.
Right.
It's almost like consciousness was suspended and put in a different reality because you're dreaming or you're not thinking at all. So,
Which is very healthy for people, and they don't know how to stop thinking. That's the problem today.
absolutely. It's a good thing.
You got to be able to stop thinking. You got to be quiet. But how about the fact that I'm sure you've heard that? Are we really just dreaming now? And when we're sleeping, that's reality.
I have heard that, but if you don't take reality for what it is, you're just going to be upset.
Yeah.
This is our reality. I don't know what all the rules are, but I know when I toss a ball up, it comes back down, so there's gravity. I know I think, therefore I am.
Right.
And beyond that, I'm cool with letting it just be a mystery because I know why I'm here.
Right.
I know why we're living, and it's really not that hard. It's a very simple equation, actually. But
Continue
I don't
on.
know.
What's the equation? What's the simple equation?
Well, you realize you are, and then once you realize you are, you realize that everything else is, and then you realize other people exist, and then you realize, well, at least I did, that there is no such thing as a singular God. We're all God.
Right.
So once you realize that we're all God, you realize that you're just an aspect of everyone else. You're basically the same person. You've just chosen to be in this reality to experience it.
Right.
Because if there is the infinite, which we believe there is, there's no point in living forever if you can't experience new things. So I imagine a universal consciousness that paints consciousness in our reality like a picture or a song.
Right. Very good. Like a painting. You were saying that, alluding to, what were you alluding to earlier about the painting? It's consciousness is to a painting, right?
Yes.
Yes, like you just said there. Okay. Yes, very good. Very good. And it is, folks. I love the painting of Michelangelo. He did
touching God's
touching
finger?
God finger. But Mike, if you ever, and Tim, if you ever looked at that picture closely, around God is a half a brain. It's conscious. God's touching man's finger, saying, "I'm giving you consciousness to be able to create."
Well, I mean, it's not mutually exclusive with traditional religion.
Yeah.
They say, God created in the Bible, in the Christian Bible, they say God created the earth in 6 days, and on the seventh day rested, right?
Right.
But it starts with God created light, and light was good, or whatever they say exactly. Right. And he thought light was good, and then he created the earth, and then he created all the animals on the earth, and blah, 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 blah. It's a good story, good parable. I like it. It's got a lot of good information, and there's nothing wrong with it. But it's not mutually exclusive with what I'm talking about, because the way we think the universe started, according to science now, is the Big Bang. That sounds a lot like there was light, and then light was good, and then everything else got created.
Right.
So, I mean,
no
two ideas are mutually exclusive.
Right. And it wasn't an apple that Eve gave man.
No.
It was a mushroom. It was. It was a red cap mushroom. One of the red cap mushrooms, like your emoji, gave it to man. Consciousness. So evolving the fact that Dennis McKenna talks about that in his book, The Food of the Gods, that we followed the herds and ate the mushrooms. and that's how we evolved. That's how we started standing upright.
That makes a lot of sense.
So we started creating the frontal lobe, which is the most magnificent part of the brain. The thing about it is people are losing in life because they do not know how the brain operates. I've been privy to be twice in California in front of Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Oh, yeah?
And Dr. Joe Dispenza, if you haven't heard of him, he's just powerful and life-changing. A lot of people are waking. You want to talk about awakening, great awakening?
Yeah,
Look at
absolutely.
His crowds are amazing. And he talks about the neurons that fire together, wire together. And what he's saying there is that same consciousness you have, that same thought you have. And it's always been programmed to be negative in all of us. Is wiring us to have the life that we're having.
I can completely see that.
And
we are creatures of patterns.
Right.
We are creatures of habits.
Right.
We create neural paths by doing repeating the same actions over and over, repeating the same thoughts. So yeah, absolutely.
We lull ourselves.
Nothing is mutually exclusive with science or anything else.
Right. Very good. Very good. But we lull ourselves to sleep.
Yes, we do.
As humans, we're all sleepwalking. There's this massive sleepwalking that's going on. I say what's the movie or the show, Day of the Dead or whatever?
Oh, Walking Dead.
Yeah, Walking Dead. The apocalypse is right now. It's there. But you came to tell your story because I'm going to tell the folks a little bit. Tim reached out to me with first of all with Facebook, in the sense of a project that your wife's working on. Why don't you tell the people a little bit about that first?
Okay. Well, my wife created a Facebook group called Person to Person, a Pay It Forward Challenge. You can find it on Facebook. Just type it in. It was started by my wife, and now she and I are the administrators of it. And basically the message is just, pay it forward. Be kinder and more giving and compassionate with your fellow man. Mm-hmm. And you can do no wrong. As long as you're truly doing that with love in your heart, you can not make a mistake.
Right.
It comes back to you immediately once you start doing it. And the more you look for it, the more you'll see it. You can do it in any way, shape, or form that you want. It doesn't have to be monetary. It can be a skill or service. Listening to someone when they need it. Smiling can be a game changer. It's good as gold.
If you're not wearing a mask.
If you're not wearing a mask, yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see when this whole thing.
Can I tell you a little bit
about?
I'm going to interrupt. I want
Absolutely.
to plug something in. I've been really interested about this mask thing and thinking, how can I convey my energy more? Because my smile is everything. A person's smile really does a lot.
Oh, it sends so many messages.
Right. And how can I do that without my smile, with my eyes? And I've been really engaging with customers. And
That's
in a
interesting.
new way in understanding this and saying, okay, how can I play this out?
Yeah.
And the other thing about it is I don't shake hands with another man anymore. I always, it's just an elbow bump.
I didn't even think about that.
I stopped shaking
really.
hands with men. Well, in public and stuff, I always used to shake hands.
I don't. I have to. I'm sorry, not to interject, but I don't get out much. I'm a solitary creature.
You're going to talk about that too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
right. Yeah.
That's okay.
I
don't need to talk about it. It's just,
you know what my
shaking
discovery?
hands. Wow,
You know what
I
my
haven't come across that yet.
You know what my discovery is though? I don't have to touch that man's hand. He just got done jacking off last night. That fucking right hand. I think I ain't got touch another fucking man's hand.
I mean, I probably wiped my ass today and haven't washed my hands that
hell
well.
no. Come on,
and I'm
man.
holding your mic, man.
Dude,
No, I washed my hands, but come on.
You're fucking me up. But no, the pay it forward, that you had a story earlier that you told about you had experienced this for yourself.
Yeah, that was 20 years ago, before the movie came out. Not the book. The book was excellent, by the way, so Google it, try and read it. Anyway, so 20-odd years ago, I'm at the gas station, and I have no gas in my car. I just need to get home, so I stop at the closest gas station, and I pay for it with $1.25 worth of change. I'm not talking quarters here. I'm talking dimes and nickels and a few pennies. Mm-hmm. So I give the attendant the money, and I go out and start pumping my gas, and I'm not paying attention. So when it shuts off, I look, and I see it says $6.25, and I'm like, oh, shit. I don't have $5 more. I don't have 1 more cent. So I go in there. I don't want to be a jerk. I go in there and talk to the attendant, and I'm like, it stopped at $6.25. Why? What happened? I gave you $1.25. And he's like, oh, no. The lady behind you put an extra $5 on your pump. And I stopped, and I'm just like, I felt like crying
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Honestly. And I'm like, well, who? Which lady? And he's like, not she asked me not to tell you because she thought that might happen.
Right.
I'm supposing. And I'm like, no, come on, dude. Who was it? And so he was just like, he kind of like looked down and he pointed over, and it was this nice middle-aged woman, lovely dark hair, lovely dark skin, and you know, she looked like
Angel.
a mom.
Oh.
She looked like a mom. You know what I mean? And so I didn't go over there. I didn't want to make her uncomfortable
Sure.
because she wanted to be anonymous.
Sure. Right.
But as I was driving out, I just kind of caught her eye and gave her a smile and a little half wave, and she got a big smile on her face too,
Yeah, of
and
course,
that just
yeah.
made my day. It made her day.
Sure.
Giving isn't a one-way street. Giving is something that enlarges everyone that participates in it. It feels good, and we shouldn't feel bad about it feeling good. There should be no guilt in giving. Personally, I think we should all be patting ourselves on the back a little bit, not in a way like, oh, I did such a good job, I'm such a good person. No. We should be telling other people about what we've done, because if you do that, yes, it goes against the traditional don't sing your own praises, don't sing your own laurels. I was raised Catholic, so I have a lot of Catholic guilt.
Well, I've been there before. I was with you.
But two really good things will happen if you do sing your own praises. As long as you're doing it with absolute generosity and compassion in your heart, you're not being an asshole. You're just encouraging people to do the same. You're raising awareness.
Right.
And when you raise awareness about something, okay, it's kind of like anything else. It travels, just like a smell travels or a virus travels or humans travel. We've started in Africa, right? And now we populate the world. 7 billion strong now.
Right.
So the second thing you do is you give me good ideas. You give everyone else good ideas on how to help. Because the more I've looked for it, the more times I've found that I was able to help. And like I said, I'm a solitary creature. I don't go out a lot, but I can still help 2-3 people a day. I find people on Facebook and Instagram to help. And
Sure.
I've done this, and it came back to me immediately.
I like it, Tim. I like it. There's a lot you're saying here, because I'm thinking of the experiment they did where the one person, like, for instance, if I gave you a gift, okay, did something nice for you, give you a gift, in my brain, it's not endorphins. I'm trying to think of the other word that is released. It's a chemical that's relieved. It's like an endorphin.
Oh, serotonin?
Serotonin is released in my brain. It's this good, overwhelming feeling of giving.
Yeah.
Comes. But you also, because you receive the gift, serotonin is also released in your body too, in your brain.
Yes.
But this is the funny thing about it is, and I want to introduce everybody that's sitting on the couch next to us while we're doing this podcast, the lovely Marcella, makeup artist. She's going to be the next to Doll Kill. But if you watch us do this act of kindness, do you want to tell people how to get a hold of you? See your art? Serious. Tell them about Instagram.
Oh, come on,
Okay.
just do it. He's not going to stop until you just do it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, okay.
Or maybe he will. She's really high.
Okay, she's really high.
So that's
We're all
okay. She
really
had a
high.
hard day.
But if she watched me give you that gift, and her serotonin would also release.
I hope so.
It's a gift that keeps on giving, and it just, like you said, trickle down effect, the energy waves, whatever. But I also see that it's very good because a lot of people, you also have to have your receiving button on.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. We were talking about that earlier.
Have to have your receiving button. A lot of people don't have the receiving button on. They don't think they're worthy enough to receive anything nice, or they sabotage their own life based on belief systems that they're not worthy enough.
Have you talked about the helicopter experiment or thought experiment with your audience before?
I think I did, Tim.
Oh, did you? Okay,
yeah.
well, we won't repeat it then.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I think I did. Yeah, I don't know. I probably did. I'm high too.
Well, everyone in the studio is high, so
that's all right.
don't
Tim.
blame us.
But Tim,
don't judge us.
Yeah,
don't
right.
don't judge us. Don't look at me that way.
Folks, get out there and do something good for somebody. I said to 3 little old ladies at Myers about a year ago, Friday morning, I know my mother got her freaking hair done every Friday. This was her ritual. Made her feel good for the weekend.
Yeah.
And them 3 ladies sitting on a park bench there at Myers, and I'm checking out. I could just tell they just got their hair done. It was new. I went up to all 3 of them. I said, ladies, you all look marvelous. You just got your hair done today, I see. And they're like, oh,
you made their
they're
day.
80 years old, but you made their day.
Yes, you did.
Beauty needs a witness anyways.
Oh, yeah, always.
Women do all that for men, and a man doesn't know how to tell her how beautiful she is.
Yeah.
That beauty needs a witness. And that's the problem. But you're saying pay it forward, be kind, a smile. Watch this one, though, Tim. Do not open a door for an older person without first asking.
Oh, that's a good. No, that should apply to the fair sex too, because a lot of women have a problem with you opening a door for them nowadays, and I understand why. I get it because misogyny has been rampant for the last 10,000 years.
Right.
So I get it, but at the same time, I find it polite. I don't pull out chairs, but I do open doors. I do it for men too, though. I do it for other human beings.
Right.
That's why we need to stop categorizing.
I did it at Speedway today for a guy. Guys, we do it all the time for each other. In the morning, going in for coffee and stuff, whatever. I go in there. I know these guys. And just saying hi to them and stuff and meeting them there. I always talk to the people that are waiting on the behind the counter.
Well, once again, he was my boss for a long time. And he taught me how to sell, and part of selling yourself is just being concerned about how someone is feeling.
Right.
If you don't know what their mood is, you're not going to be able to sell them stuff because they're going to be mad. Mm-hmm. And people are most receptive when they're happy, when that serotonin is flowing.
Right. Yes. Yeah, I think we got to get out there. We got to show each other. The guys I've been hanging around with, Tim, besides you coming back into my life, which is just, again, how the universe is unfolding things. It's a beautiful thing. It's
Absolutely.
I'm just in flow. I'm like, I got this. I'm on a surfboard. I got a surfboard, and I'm just working my swagger out on it. You know what I mean? And I see things just unfolding because also a good friend of mine, Greg, who I vacationed a lot with, worked out with a lot, did a lot of good things with, and a very interesting gentleman, Baldwin, which I just did a podcast with him, folks. You want to check out Greg Baldwin, the previous podcast, and. We back together after 10 years of not seeing each other.
Okay.
Just like me and you. It's been over 10 years or whatever.
Yeah, about 10.
And Greg's big message and what we've been talking about is empathy and gratitude.
Absolutely.
Empathy and gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
I did a little thing one time, and it brought me to tears, actually. I was driving around the city and doing things, and I was just thinking about the fact that we are all one, like you said, with this thing. So I was driving around, and I was looking at people on the street, might have been a bum, might have been a person in a wheelchair, and whatever. And I was just thinking to myself, I am them, I am him, I am her. We are.
Well, besides
and
above and beyond us actually being all the same person or part of the same personality, if you look at it like that, if there is a universal consciousness, I'm assuming it has a sense of humor. It has some sort of personality.
Oh, it has a big sense of fucking humor. Don't give me that. God, yeah, the universe has a big fucking sense of humor. God, whatever source.
So besides that, like I will look at, like you were saying, homeless people or, someone that's disabled. Mm-hmm. I will see people like that. And I think to myself, I can very easily be that person in this reality. I was so close to being homeless so many times, you have no idea.
Yeah.
It's friggin' ridiculous. Luckily, I never had to, but I could be that twitchy, dirty, weird guy that's singing to himself, and there is no crazy folks. There's just different kinds of people.
Right. It's like the little handicap boy. I was up in Detroit getting some oils at this beautiful shop, and Mohammed was telling me about he was at the funeral the day before, and he was saying this handicapped child was smiling and laughing and going around giving everybody hugs at the funeral, but everybody else was crying. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a different dimensional, the way he's in a different dimension.
Yeah.
And who says our dimension is right, the way we think? That's you have to question everything. Everything. I was talking to Marcella about belief systems. I asked her on the elevator up, I said, do you believe you have to work hard for money? And she said no, and I said, thank God. Because
Once
to convince a person otherwise is fucking like, I know guys like, rah, 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 hit the hammer, fucking beat the hell out of this,
Well,
let's do it,
As a bona fide...
Right, yeah.
Marcella's telling us something right now.
Yeah, she said if you give it, it'll always come back. And that's what, Tim, we're all talking the same language here, and it's beautiful.
Yeah,
it is.
Absolutely.
Thank you for... I'm going to have you on the show someday. Okay. Let's go. That's good. But needless to say, it's just all this good positive and being grateful for everything.
Yeah.
I take time now in the morning. I've been doing this, laying my hand on my heart and just walking around and just laying in bed first and then just getting up and just thinking everything I can be grateful for. The sounds of summer.
Do you honestly mean everything, though? I mean, do you honestly mean that? Be grateful for everything?
Well, remember,
and it's a good question. Remember, think about it.
It's a very good question, and I think fast. But the fact of it is yes, I underthink everything in my life is my cause and effect. So
Absolutely.
I take full responsibility of everything.
Besides
Am I grateful
responsibility,
for
it's happened,
but look,
and there's no taking it back. We live linear existence,
right? And we talked about all the mistakes we made, but what it did with your stint you were in jail for a year.
I was,
and is that all right if we bring that out? Or you want
it
me to
is.
add that?
No, that's I hide nothing. If I'm going to become as successful as I believe I'm going to, I'd rather get it out there now than some journalist find it someday. Right. So I'm willing to talk about absolutely anything that I've ever done, experienced, seen.
Yeah.
Because it's all led to this, and I'm not ashamed of any of it.
Beautiful. And same thing. All my life, a lot of the fuck ups I made and all the mistakes has brought me to where I'm at to be the man that I am today.
Mm-hmm.
You learn from them. And there's a great book called Falling Forward by John Maxwell. He talks about a lot of people make mistakes, and they get right up, they fall, and they get right up, and their ego, they throw their shoulders back, and they go, I'm okay. But he says when you fall in life and you're down, take a little time to clean things up before you move on.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Do some shadow work on yourself. Work on your personality. Work on your mindset. Yes. Why are you thinking that negative thought?
We got to stop being in such a rush.
Right.
We have a limited life, but, we have enough of it. You're not going to die until you're not needed anymore. Right. And I don't mean like your loved ones don't need you. I'm not saying they're not going to be sad when you go, but you're only here for as long as you're absolutely supposed to be. Right.
It's all good.
It is.
It is all good. But meditation, one of the things meditation helps with is the easing of death.
Mm-hmm.
When you start to lose real close
Shrooms
loved
can
ones.
help with that too.
Right, and that's why, that's another reason you do that, shrooms. But when you learned a vital lesson when you were in jail on the fact that you learned how to stick up for yourself and not be people bully you.
Sure,
because you were always a shorter gentleman and more Napoleon, like you were saying.
Yeah, I had a little Napoleon complex because I am a shorter guy. I was stocky in my youth, but once I went to jail, I was a 10-year-long opiate user. So I was about 125, 5'6", blonde hair, blue eyes, white.
Okay.
You'd think I wouldn't have done well in lockup, but I was fine. It wasn't that bad. All you got to do is not take any shit from anybody, and I found that doesn't mean violence. I found that I could use my mind with rapier-like wit and defeat anyone I need to with logic. Now, that might not always work for you in prison, so please don't necessarily take that advice because you might get fucked up. Right. I don't know, but I didn't.
Or add a little bit of my bullshit with it. That'll keep you out of it for sure.
Yes, try and tell some jokes too.
Right.
I spent a lot of time memorizing jokes from the Maxim magazines that my roommate would smuggle in. So I would learn the jokes at the back of the Maxim magazine, and then I would tell them, at lunch or whatever.
Okay, yeah, easy. Get people to laugh. This is Tim. That's a great quality.
Serotonin,
man.
once again.
Serotonin again. I do that in sales. I tell people all the time, if you can get a customer to laugh, you can sell them anything.
Oh, yeah.
You fucking sell them anything.
Absolutely.
Get them a goddamn laugh. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I use humor a lot in my sales in that sense. One of the things I was going to say, though, is that you were... matching wit, this type of thing was back in the day. This is what I love about the Renaissance period. Men were really fucking men back then. They knew poetry. They knew how to make love to a woman. They were just artists. They were
knew
all
how to
artists.
write a letter.
They knew how to write a letter. All these kind of things. Just all these real chivalry kind of, and sexy qualities of a man. And that's how they would match wit with each other. Poetry.
Yeah.
They would try to defeat each other mentally.
Right.
Nobody got fucking brains today to do that with.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know if I would have done so well quoting Shakespeare, but I know what I said and I know what it meant, and it was pretty close to it because, goddamn, if it wasn't poetry, I thought I was going to get my ass kicked.
Yeah. Okay, you mentioned Shakespeare. I got to stop right now and
Okay.
divert this. She is beautiful. She is to be wooed. She is woman. She is to be loved. This is Shakespeare. So,
Very nice.
I want to invert for the lady in the house.
Hey, you have to be polite.
Yeah. Well, fast forward now here. This is the kicker. You hook me up with on the Facebook. We start following on the kindness and all this, and acts of kindness, beautiful stuff. You even called me if I had any job openings for someone, which I thought was awesome. And that's another thing. If you know anybody out there that knows somebody or connect. Stay connected, folks. This is what they do want to do. They want to disconnect us. We've got to stay connected. All you have to do is ask. Man. Yeah. Closed mouth is never fed. Mm-hmm. But needless to say, you started a podcast fucking show.
Yes, I did.
And sent me a link to it. Wait a second, man.
I was pretty nervous about it. I put it out there.
I got to tell it all. Is this not plugged in? It must be running on batteries. Thank God it is. It's running
He's
on
plugging
batteries.
Things in now.
I'm running on batteries. I was running on batteries.
The
there.
technology here is incredible.
It is. I plugged it. Hey, if you
it's
don't
like the $1 Million Man up in here.
Hey, if you don't stay plugged in, you don't stay turned on, Tim.
I'm turned on all the time now.
I get on his show. The name of your show is, go ahead, Tim.
It is called Sex, Drugs, and Everything Else. It's on Anchor. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Podcast. It's on Google Podcasts. It's on most major platforms. All you have to do is type in Sex, Drugs, and Everything Else, and you'll find me.
Beautiful. And the first episode, he sends it to me. Could you grab my cigarettes, Jim?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you don't mind, please? I appreciate that, bud. He sends it to me, and he says to me, he says, well, the first part you probably know all about. You don't need to know anything about it. He goes, so you just might want to fast forward to the next two parts. So I thought, oh, interesting. So I started up. I'm listening to it. The first part happens to be on anal sex.
Yeah, absolutely. The show's called Sex, Drugs, and Everything Else, so I thought my first episode I should do a topic on the first thing in the show's title. So it was sex, and I didn't want to be boring, so I went straight to anal.
Right, and you weren't boring, and I learned a couple of things.
Well, good.
I learned a couple of things.
I learned all that stuff.
Yeah.
Learning anything is just believing something someone else told you or that you read in a book, and that's someone else.
Right.
So you decide what information is pertinent and factual. You try it out in real life, and if it works, well, then you say, that is a fact.
Right. And that is a fact, right. But, if you think about it, most men get their sexuality in the locker room, and most men, when they talk about anything sexual, they start laughing afterwards. It shows their immaturity about it.
Oh,
you know
absolutely.
What I mean? And you went right for the throat on this, and you talked about things of like prostate massage, which I have had a prostate massage.
Oh, yeah?
I actually bought a tool.
Like a medical one? Or
a little tool that,
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I've had that done before. And I have no problem, during sex having, like you had alluded to, your anal play. And I've had numerous situations like that. But and I find it's very healthy because the number one thing men that in America suffer from is prostate cancer.
Oh, absolutely. And ejaculation is one of the things that can help you with that.
Right.
It's I don't know if it's 100% proven, but most doctors will tell you that the more you ejaculate, the less chance you'll have of getting prostate cancer.
Prostate cancer, right.
Or
right.
prostate dysfunction. Because as you get older, sure. You start to have to pee a lot in the night and stuff like that.
You say that. I don't.
Yeah, I do. I have early onset prostate problems.
Oh, really? Okay.
And it started when I was like 32, and I'm 43 now, so I've been dealing with it for quite some time.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. It's just something that you should, have a medical doctor talk to you about. You need to be informed.
Right, always informed. But it's a funny thing, it runs rapid in America, and it doesn't in Europe and other countries.
Really? I didn't know that.
Because the Spaniards, Europeans especially, it doesn't run rapid, because they're always on the move. They're always walking. They're riding their bicycles.
Oh, that's true. We are kind of lazy in this country.
We sit in a goddamn lazy boy all fucking day long, all night long.
Well, what are we doing right now? What are both of our fat
chair.
asses doing right now? We're sitting in chairs.
Hey, I'm
smoking cigarettes.
That's all right.
We're smoking, folks.
Yeah.
All right? Don't smoke. It's bad for you.
I'm smoking American Spirits right now, but I'm about ready to quit someday. I quit for 12 years. I
He's
figured
ready
it's just a
to
phase.
quit someday.
Yeah.
That sounds very, very serious.
Hey, I quit putting my cigarettes on the around my cooking area. Someone told me that wasn't good, so I stopped doing that. So
I
could stop
this.
that. I could stop anything.
I will say this. I've been in the studio now for a couple hours, I think, and I've only seen him smoke about 2 cigarettes. He puts them out. He only smokes a little bit of them, and then he puts them out, it seems like. So he's not smoking that many.
Right. I waste a lot of cigarettes. I only smoke a half a cigarette and I put it out. It's funny, and they burn really slow anyways. But let's go on. Let's get off the cigarettes. Man.
Sure.
My buddy Steve would say real men fucking smoke. Humphrey Bogart, all the fucking real men back in the day, black and white movies.
Hey,
all
that's
have
something
fucking
I believe in.
You know?
Don't trust a man without at least a couple vices.
Right. Very good. I got a couple.
Or I'm sorry. Actually, don't trust a person without a couple vices.
Right.
That was kind of fucking sexist.
Yeah.
But we were talking about men.
Right. We were at the time. My dad, he never trusted a guy that didn't drink. My dad was a big drinker. He didn't trust anybody who didn't drink.
Yeah.
He didn't trust motherfucker.
Well, see, I kind of don't either. Like if you're talking about like a teetotaler.
Yeah.
Very, once again, nothing wrong with religion, but if they're like a very religious person and say, well, I can't drink.
Yeah.
I just can't. God doesn't want me to drink. Nah, I don't trust that. I don't trust that at all.
How about this story? There's a church conference going on in Germany, right? And the American women fly over to this female, church conference. It was for women. Women's conference, empowerment. And they went over there, and they went to church, and afterwards, they were with the German women. Mm-hmm. And after church, they all went out to dinner and came back to the church. While they were out to dinner, all the German women sat with the German women, all the American women sat with the American women. The American women were watching the women of the church drink beer for lunch. And they were like, oh, my God, look at them. They're drinking beer. They're drinking beer. And the German women were looking at the American women and says, they dress like sluts when they go to fucking church.
That is an awesome.
And you as a Catholic boy know, we used to sit the aisle seat to watch them women go up and down to get that communion, man. We wanted to see them on a Sunday. We'd wink at them as they walked by. You know what I mean? We were just, all up in there. But
turn your head around in the pew.
Yeah, turn your
My
head around.
dad would smack me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, turn your head around. Quit looking at that. But also, you're reading a book in your podcast. That's an interesting twist. But I've listened to it. It's very interesting. You have a great voice.
Thank you.
This is a funny story because I have a buddy of mine, Drew, who we were in a business together for a while, and he was reading Og Mandino, the greatest salesman ever lived.
Okay.
And we were traveling together, Atlanta. We went to Atlanta. We went to Dallas, whatever. And this was in a 3-month period. He would always read before we went to. I said, Drew, read out loud so I can listen to you read. He's got such a great voice.
Oh, okay.
We were,
absolutely.
and it was fantastic. And your voice is what I'm trying to say is just really penetrating, Tim.
Well, thank you.
Especially when you're reading from this book.
I never thought I really had a traditionally nice voice, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's my exuberance. I don't know.
The way you punctuate, what a word I'm looking for here. When you're reading the book and everything, and you really bring someone in. You brought me in on it.
That's kind of why I put music behind it too.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to, really listen to a book reading, but
who wants to listen to that? That sounds boring as shit to me, and I love literature.
Yeah, so that's why I'm thinking you should do more sex shit.
Well, I'm going to do more topical stuff. My third episode, I did the first segment I'm going to do on drugs. I'm going to talk about drugs a lot more because I think they're a big issue in this country. I think they're a big issue in human beings' lives, and I think we think about them all wrong.
I think we do, too. Do you know what they did in Portugal? They legalized all drugs, all heroin, everything. And they've seen it all.
I did not know that.
They've seen the consumption of it all go down.
Oh, of course.
People stop using it.
You know what? You want to know why? When you take something away from people, you make it a mystery. You make it something that they want more.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think it should all be legalized. Just like just let it go. Let people be in charge of their own.
Legalize it all.
Yeah.
Let everyone figure it out for themselves. They'll be educated about it.
Right.
It will balance our budget within a year.
Sure.
I mean, Colorado, once they made weed legal for recreational consumption, they balanced their state budget within a year. It cut down on crime. It cut down on our prison system.
Sure.
Everyone's talking now about defunding the police, which, well, I understand what they're saying. I don't believe that's a good idea, but you could actually defund the police because you would have so much less crime and so many less crimes committed. Because if you still have weed in your pocket in Ohio, that's still a crime unless you have a medical card.
Toledo is very. I actually had the guys on normal, but they were on the ballot 2 years ago here in Toledo. I had them on my show, and it actually passed. You're allowed to have like a quarter ounce with and get nothing.
Is it?
Toledo? Yeah, very small. And they actually there's 2 weed shops in Toledo too. There's
that
one
actually
on Main
sell
Street.
actual THC?
Yep, THC weed.
Oh, okay. I did not know that either. I knew it was coming.
It's under a club. They got it under a club rule, and you become a member of the club. You pay $100 to get in it, and then you go in there and buy weed and smoke. So that's in Toledo right now. A buddy of mine,
That's
Chuck.
cool. I might have to check that out.
A good friend of mine, Chuck, who texted me the other day, actually wants to come up and see the studio and be shot. Interesting cat. Works. He runs all these stripper clubs in Toledo and stuff.
Oh yeah,
yeah, he's an interesting cat. Well, he has in the past.
What, like
He's not
platinums
now.
and stuff?
Yeah, he used to run them.
Yeah?
Yeah, he managed them. He knows all these
kidding.
guys up in Detroit. That's why he's opened this up from these guys up in Detroit, funding it.
Yeah,
backing him as far as that goes. But he's a good character. And but then you end in your podcast. You're going to talk about drugs. You end with music. This gentleman that you're plugging, you want to go ahead and tell people a little bit about him?
Sure. Well, I've featured 2 pieces of art that are music on my first podcast and my third one. The first one was a song called Miracle by a band called Fortune, specifically backed by my friend Nico. I believe he was the producer and the writer on it.
Okay.
And you can find them on SoundCloud if you're interested at all. It's a really good song. It's got a really positive message, and if you like hip-hop, it'll be your thing. The second one I did was a spoken word piece by my friend Splice. That's what he goes by. He's a hip-hop artist, but he's kind of a goofy little white guy, and he tries to be Eminem a little bit too much, but his spoken word is fantastic. He talks about the separation that we've been experiencing because of COVID in a spoken word, jazzy, freestyle rap type of format. So you might want to check that out too.
Yeah. I'm glad I'm glad we connected here. I'm loving the fact that you're doing the podcast. I enjoy listening to yours, and I hope you invite me on your show.
Oh, absolutely! As
And,
soon as
we
I
rock
start
that
having
out.
guests,
Yeah.
I haven't had guests yet. I've been thinking about it, but I think I need to up my tech game a little before I start actually having
Sure.
guests, because I don't want to just be shoving my phone in someone's face.
Well, this is something you just learned. What I'm doing and what I'm
Absolutely.
using here really is a nice little, and it's portable. I travel with it, but I can also hook it up and do, which I've done 3 or 4 Skype
Oh, okay.
using this.
Nice.
Connected to my computer and recording, and then GarageBand. I do a little GarageBand.
Cool.
YouTube is a university is incredible. Like you said, you Google everything today.
Right.
Yeah, I love it,
Can-
Tim. Love having you out,
anything.
man. Love
Thank
having
you.
you out. Guru Podcast here, Toledo, Ohio. Shout out to my friend Barbie. She says she's got 5 names. I don't know.
She looks like she's got 5 names.
Yeah.
She's definitely got some AKAs. I know that shit.
Yeah, she got some AKs.
You can't fool me, girl.
I love it. I love it. But hey, everybody, check out my recent podcast with Greg Baldwin also is over the top. Greg really talks about what we were talking a little bit about today, gratitude and empathy, and the fact of having that morning regiment that redials. We always get up and we just start running. We start doing the same thing every morning. We're really not calibrating ourselves, saying, what do I intend for today to happen? Intention is very powerful, and putting that intention out to the universe and watching things happen. And again, I've had a numerous amount of just fun things happen. I think well, I'm going to save that for the next podcast because I'm going to blow your mind with a little story, which I think I shared Tim earlier with, and I'll save that for the next podcast. But also go to my IG Instagram, check out ghunter_photographer.
He's a very good photographer, folks. I've seen his stuff.
Thank you, Tim.
It's very inspirational.
Yeah, Evolution, and you did 35 millimeter. You've done black and white. I've got my black and white studio down here. Here's one of my Canon 35 millimeters. We need
the nice old leather case. Even I love that.
We need to shoot and develop and do old school all the way, man.
Absolutely, yeah. I'd
just
love
bring
that.
it bring it back like vinyl's coming back.
The
old vinyl records are coming back. But man, folks,
not ironically, folks. Don't do anything ironically except cannibalism. That's it. If you don't get that joke, then think about it for a little bit.
Was that Mad Max?
No, that's Tim O'Shea.
That's Tim O'Shea. I love it. I love it. This is good stuff. Tim, love having you on. Love catching up with you, chopping it up today, spitting gold.
Absolutely, sir.
And we're going to do it again for sure, man. Elbow, right?
Elbow.
We got to do the elbow because of the virus. Yeah, we're not wearing masks either today. So.
Oh, just let me cup your balls already. Come on.
I told him earlier there's two reasons. Well, okay, I already said that in there. I love you, folks. Greg Huntermark, Guru Podcast, Toledo, Ohio. Roof.